This is Slasher here in the first day of the WCS America Finals. I'm here with the return of Bitterdam to casting, their first offline LAN event since the NASL Season 4 Finals in December. Guys, how does it feel to be back casting a major Starcraft 2 event in person?
It's fun. I did cast Homesteader Cup after that, but Ben wasn't there, and I did some other small casting gigs and a lot from home. But yeah, it feels good to be offline again. It feels fun to meet all the players in person and actually be here. It's fun.
Feels great. Feels great. We love casting StarCraft. We love being here with you, Rod.
Thank you. I love being here with you guys, too. So, matches today, gone kind of somewhat expected. We have 4 Koreans now qualified from WCS America and to WCS Finals. There's a good chance we'll have the 5th and final Korean qualified into WCS Finals, which would leave 13 of 16 players from Korea at the finals. Any thoughts on the format and what has transpired?
I would like to see more non-Korean players getting a shot to do awesome things. I think WCS Season 1 was really awesome. I think the mission and the I guess the objective here of WCS is a really great thing. We both really strongly support WCS and what Blizzard is doing with it. But I do think that it's important that we continue to build up our local heroes, and it's hard to do that when the only true event is allowing Koreans to win everything. God, that sounds so bad when I say it like that. But it's kind of how I feel. So.
Feel the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, not much else to say to it.
Do you still just see it? Some people argue that it's just the best of the best players are winning, the best players are qualifying, and you're going to get the best games that way. Do you agree?
Well, if that was the case, then I probably would be very happy with the format. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it comes down to a lot to which players can afford to travel, which players are able to make the travel in the first place. And once they are there, then they can compete. But for instance, the Koreans we have here are all really good players, and like no one would ever say that they're bad. But you can probably get like 20 more guys from Pro League, and you put them here over here as well. But those guys, perhaps they are not allowed to travel because of the Pro League schedule and stuff. And I think that's like perhaps one of the issues, that we got a couple of really good Korean players over here, but in Korea themselves, they wouldn't have the same amount of success as they have over here. And that's one thing that is kind of like, oh man, that. You know, if they were actually the absolute best players, and if all Koreans had the option to travel whenever they want or make the decision however they want, but some guys were already in GSL quotas in Korea and stuff, they couldn't immediately participate in another season. So I don't think that's necessarily the case, that you could say like, oh, the best players are playing games and the best players we're going to see at the grand finals, because I don't think that's the case.
Do you think that's what's happened?
Well, it's definitely not the best of the best. You do have the very best Koreans doing fantastic things and playing incredible games in Korea. But I don't think anybody would argue that the top 6 or however many Koreans that are here in New York are representative of the top 6 Koreans in the world, or even the top 12, or even the top 24. I mean, like Kevin was saying, I think the Pro League players are a substantial step ahead of a lot of the guys that we're seeing here. What I would prefer to see is kind of what I said before. I would like to see the best North Americans. I would like to see the best Europeans. I would like to see the best Koreans. And then when you want to see truly the best of the best, you bring them all together at your, your seasonal finals, and you see who comes out on top. And maybe it's the Koreans. It probably is going to be. But then at least we've not only celebrated the best of each region, but we've also given incentive to the players in those regions to develop.
Now that we've gone kind of a full season, we'll be next weekend in Korea for the finals. Do you think that we need a change in the format for season 2 or 3?
I mean, yeah, obviously. And Blizzard's going to make some changes here and there. I'm sure of it. And what we get season 3, season 4, season 5 is going to be a much different animal and confident than what we have now. And don't misunderstand, WCS is an awesome endeavor, and it's ultimately going to be very good for the scene. It's just going to take a little bit of time for us to get past the rocky early stages and get it all, perfect.
What do you bet you?
Yeah, feeling the same way. You never know how it's going to unfold. Right now, we can already see a lot of American players who perhaps didn't even get a shot the first time to make it into Premier League, or only had one shot, and then had to go up against a couple of the best Koreans we have right now. For instance, like Alicia, Alive, and Revival. All those guys came via qualifiers, as far as I recall. So those guys knocked out a couple of Americans. But now we are going to see those Americans in perhaps not even Premier League the next season, but we're going to see them in Challenger. But that's going to be a lot of fun too, because then you're at least going to get those guys. You give them a fair shot, and hey, if they make it through to the Challenger, for instance, the Muslim, even though he's not American, but he's been here for so long, he's almost American. He made his way through the Challenger League. Now next season he's going to be in the Premier League. And I think guys like the Muslim, or for instance a guy like Kane, who's on route right now, I'm not sure how he's doing in WCS, but I think those guys can definitely make a couple of big steps and a couple of splashes here and there. And then I think, for instance, for the next season, WCS North America, it's very likely that we have 2, 3 North Americans, real North Americans, maybe even 4. Don't know how it goes. So.
Recently, it was announced that Hero Level Productions would be producing the new season for the World of Tanks North American League that they just announced a week ago. You guys are going to be in charge doing some casting for an entirely new game for most of the esports audience to one that they haven't really watched before. Other was GSL was picked it up for a little bit, and it was at IPL back at South by Southwest. What are your kind of expectations and feelings going into this new game, trying to push a game that a lot of people haven't seen before?
I'm excited. I think it's cool. You will probably see some of us casting World of Tanks. It's not going to be like, Kevin is always going to be a Starcraft guy. I'm always going to be a Starcraft guy. My work with World of Tanks is much more behind the scenes than it is on camera. So we are involved in some capacity, but we're not necessarily the ones that are going to be driving the content every single day. I think it's a really fun game. It's a great game, and I'm excited to bring it to fans. And I think that we can present it in a way that excites people about watching it, and hopefully excites people about playing it, and hopefully leads to a long and prosperous relationship for everybody involved.
Yeah, pretty much. It's fun to do something different as well. It's exciting to work on something. It's better than doing nothing, because after all, broadcasting is a lot of fun if you decide to do this. But as Ben said, I am definitely a StarCraft guy. Doesn't mean I don't want to give it a go. I mean, we have Testosis casting World of Tanks. They seem to have some fun with each other, so why wouldn't I be able to have some fun with Ben? But at the end of the day, I am a StarCraft guy, and I will be spending at least the same amount of time on StarCraft as I did before, perhaps even more. So.
Lastly, a lot of you guys have been missed from the StarCraft scene. Not a lot of updates out of what is happening over there. The NASL season seems to be in limbo right now. People are wondering what is going on. Will we be seeing you guys back casting StarCraft 2 from your home studio anytime soon?
We really hope so. The truth is that we don't have an answer. We've been joking around and saying different trolly stuff to different people. But the truth is we just don't know. We really, really hope to be casting StarCraft from our home studio in the near future. But right now, it's up in the air, I really want to continue working on StarCraft, obviously. But, there are more forces at play than my desires, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ben answered it the way he could. Well, what we could say for sure is that I will always be involved with StarCraft no matter what. If it's not from the NHL studio, which is definitely not like a yes or no answer right now, it's something, as Ben said, we just can't possibly say. That would be awesome. That's something we all want, even though we're always open for new adventures as well. But StarCraft is our game. But even if it wouldn't happen, then you're still going to see us around. Nothing to worry about.
I know the community will not let either of you two go anywhere. Thank you, Rotterdam. Thank you, Mr. Bitter, for the interview.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod, for fantastic journalism.
No problem. Stay tuned to GameSpot.com/esports for coverage all weekend long of WCS America Championships. And now go.